merchandise notes. Yeah.
Can you do a favor? Can you text Brett and say, check your Facebook messages? Because I just messaged him.
I don't think there's a chance that Al Brett doesn't check his Facebook messages.
When I was in Chicago last and we stayed with him, he had like 300 messages, like unread.
Oh,
I think he picks and chooses which ones, but...
Or he just doesn't delete any. Is it
Yeah.
unread for sure?
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. Look at this. This is probably your friend. Is your friend in Arcadia, California? No. That's probably whoever we talked to. Both going. Analyzing through our Facebook.
No, he's in Ohio.
Nothing hurts my stomach more than over a big company watching them go to About Us than leadership. Just wishing they didn't exist. And we have, you know, the infographics labeled as case studies at the bottom of our site. I don't know if you noticed that, but hurry up. Brett said I was assuming that Justin just called.
Oh shit, really?
So I'm getting tag teamed by him now. It's fine. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, is this Ed?
Yeah, this is Ed.
Hi, this is
Hi. Kathy's here.
Hi, Kathy, Ed. This is Patrick from UPCO. I believe you're scheduled with James, but I'm going to be running this meeting from our end.
Okay, I'm just trying to get on to go to meeting.
No problem.
I don't know why it always asks me to install when I already have it.
It's really annoying. It's old, but it's what everyone's used to the most. We've used a few different meeting software, so yeah, it's. I'll give you a couple minutes on that. Are you guys in the same computer location, or are you guys separate?
Separate.
Okay. Ed, are you already on? Can you see, I suppose, your main website on the screen?
Yep.
Okay. How are you guys? How's the day been?
Good.
First question before we introduce ourselves and from a company perspective, is Rocktenn and Rocktenn merchandising both of your guys' focus, or is Rocktenn merchandising or the other more of a high value entity on your end?
Yeah, merchandising is the one we're focused on.
Okay, so you work within merchandising in particular as well, Ed?
Yes.
Yeah, I made that assumption because, to be blunt, the merchandising is a lot higher quality website from the corporate one. I know. I do know the size of your company and what you guys do on an offsite basis. So I assume that it looked like a lot more effort was put into the display site. So, would you mind, Ed, if you would, once again, we are familiar with your company from the offsite end, but if you could tell me a little bit about your guys' digital strategy currently. And what the objective of your website, in this case, merchandising displays, is.
Well, our merchandising displays website is a way to communicate our specific division and our specific agenda and capabilities. Rocktenn as a whole is a very large company, but we're just a small part of it. But we're the most advertising, or most closely associated to advertising. So that's why we have spent more time and effort into our webpage, and our webpage is one of the main places that we direct all of our prospects, and we do get some customer inquiries and things through our website, and it's one of the places we can send our salespeople to give presentations about our company in small doses.
Okay, so your main objective of the site as a whole, other than, of course, getting your message out there, is having people inquire for more information to basically move forward?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if Kathy's on now. I saw her name just pop up. So.
Finally there. Okay. We also just recently put our website, the merchandising display website, on a Drupal platform, so hopefully we'll have our marketing staff will have a little bit more control over updating content and making it more effective that way.
Were you guys outsourcing before to a particular company, or just or are you just?
Yeah, we are, but quite honestly, we're spending a lot of time on it because updates are not easy. Number one, we have to be careful about the kind of information we put up there, even images of products displays that we make for our customers. We need to get approval before we can just post anything up there. And so anything that we produce, that kind of content, we've got to carefully screen, and it's not that easy to update for those reasons.
Okay, no problem. And you heard our conversation earlier, Kathy? Were you on the phone?
Just a minute ago?
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you were on while you were waiting to load, so. Okay. Well, to cut to the point on our end, I'll let you know what this is. This meeting is, on our end, just a 15-minute capabilities overview. It's basically just giving you guys a 10,000-foot view of what we do and how it could provide benefit to your company. And please feel free to interrupt me at any point. And at the end, we'll circle back to, potential practical use cases and see if there's interest to either dig deeper or talk about it, in more detail. So on that note, first question I want to ask you guys, are you guys currently using any kind of analytics platform, any kind of website intelligence to get a decent measure of what's happening on your website or where people are coming from?
we still have Google Analytics, right? And I haven't really looked at it since we did our SEO review, but I was
Yeah,
thinking we still have.
Yeah, I think that's all we have.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so to introduce what we do, we have a couple of technologies I'm showing. It's kind of a 360 website intelligence suite, but one end of that is, easiest comparison is to Google Analytics. The big difference of what we're doing from a storage end is if you guys see your website right now, if you're on Google Analytics and someone comes to your website and they enter the home page, then they move to a different page, Google is giving you guys basically a record that someone went from one page to the next page. They're creating a record every time someone goes from one page to another on your website, giving you the time and other associated details, where they came from, etc. What our company, we differentiate because we're giving you complete information on everything you see on your website from a data perspective. So if someone moves their mouse and selects more wow on your website, someone types in a name on the form, if I write hi, then I delete it, you're going to have exactly what was entered, how often it was deleted, and just much deeper details where, you know, you don't want to use all of them when getting any kind of insider analysis, but you do have the capability to go as deep as you want into each action on the site. The other end of that coin is because we're storing every action that happens on your site, we also have the ability to recreate every piece of data as if it was a playable video. So if you guys look, if I enter your guys' website tomorrow and I enter for a couple minutes, aside from seeing all of my details, you can click play on every record on our within our technology, and you can watch exactly what I did as if you were standing behind me on the screen. So from a capability standpoint, on a site where you guys are more focused on looking, you know, a few cases where all of your traffic is of high interest, it can be worthwhile to look at pieces and segments to figure out how users are actually interacting, you know, the customer experience, or digging deeper into, on a macro basis, how often are people struggling filling out a form? How can we make that more efficient? You know, what's the average time someone's spending to contact us once we've identified them as interested, and just, you know, just kind of giving you complete insight into what's happening from the website end. Any questions, or is that pretty straightforward for you guys?
I guess it's
Pretty straightforward for me. I mean, it's basically like videoing the website.
Yeah, so that's, you know, this is all supplemented. So when you see statistics within a Google Analytics, you see all those statistics, much deeper data in that regard, and it's all linked to it directly as well. So that's a point. You're not just cycling through a lot of videos. If you click someone who came from a certain, you know, piece of site, you can play it from that regard. So.
But if somebody doesn't enter their name into some form that you have on your site, you still don't know who that person is who's on your site.
No, yeah, you won't know if they don't enter your name, but if that same person comes back tomorrow, you're going to know it's the same person. We do correlate the records. So if you have someone you don't know who comes 5 times, you can group them all together. And the big difference here is if someone does enter their name on your site and they don't click submit, we are the, this is proprietary technology. We're the only company that stores that information for you. So if you see someone who's tried to give their information before and they have a website error, something else that stops them from it, you do still have that information to use, you know, depending on sensitivity. In your guys' case, a contact form, most companies will not have issues contacting from that end. If it's something more secure, you know, someone's giving financial or social security information with particular clients, they won't feel comfortable contacting them, but they'll at least be able to understand that's a lost customer because of something on our end. So. Other side of that coin, this quick example is a lot of companies are dealing with mobile problems in particular because the stats don't line up. Visit from a non-mobile phone versus a mobile is, you know, completely different scenarios. So this is just an example of how deep we can go when we talk about the whole experience from every kind of device. This is showing, you can see how people are interacting from their finger movements, all of the blue you see here. And of course, what you're going to see next is if someone switches, flips their phone, all of this is all included within our playable records. So you guys could say, I only want to look at, we just set up Drupal on our site, like you said. I want to make sure everything's working okay for mobile. Let's look at a few examples of people who came from mobile from Apple, people mobile Microsoft. Okay, everything looks good on their end. We don't need to do as much internal troubleshooting, or we don't have to trust what our techs say in a lot of cases is used on, a higher level marketing end to know what's really happening. So. The last detail about our analytics I'll show is, we have all this integrated into a intelligence platform where we have about 30 different modules built in, but the only key takeaway is that you have complete control with all of the information we store to segment it. If you want to label traffic, if you want to say, I want to know everyone who came from China, made 3 purchases in the past, and came back to my site again, I want to create a certain color label to identify them. Once you create that label, they're automatically going to be labeled for you to view from all of our modules. So you can tag past customers, you can do analysis over your entire traffic saying how many people came from China and left my site after 30 seconds of trying to fill out the contact form. I can pull them up, I can see their individual videos, and also dig as deep as we want into that specific data. Any other questions from your guys' end on the analytics? So this is, like I said, pretty top-level view, but that's the long story short of it, is the deeper data and a lot of ways to manipulate it and kind of understand what's going on. Okay, I assume that's okay. So actually, I forgot something that may be relevant if you guys do have high value, a lot of your individual visits is anytime someone visits a site and you get a record of their visit, you can click View Details. And you can also watch these videos in a way that you can see all of the past history from each client. In this case, this person has 1 past visit, but if they had 50 past visits, 100 past visits, you could say, here's what I want to see labeled on each picture of the visits, and I want to go back and see the visit they did last week. I can just click View Details, and it gives you that information for their particular visit. So this is used in a lot of cases if you have particular partners, agencies, or clients, and you want to take a closer look at their traffic to see how they understand your site or see what they know about you. You would choose the stats you want to show in those cases, and you would be able to cycle back and forth with their history. So aside from that, the other end of the coin on our end as a company is we created a search engine, the first search engine that has access to every website on the internet. So the big difference there is if you're using a Google, a Bing, a Facebook, all mainstream indexes, they're set up. So if your site wants to get listed in Google, you're going to have to, get their attention. Well, if you register Rocktenn tomorrow, you're not going to already be included. They basically put the liability on the website owner to get their attention and get listed within Google. The difference between our search engine is every time a website gets created, we're automatically taking all the same information, the keywords they're using, the technologies they use on their page, and we're storing it in one searchable source. So the 2 benefits we provide on this end, no one wants a search engine. It's not 1994 anymore, but for companies, particular larger companies, they use this for 2 reasons. It's to monitor their competition. Because if you guys have 3 key competitors, and let's say that they're using a new technology next week, they're having relative success with it, we're keeping a record of their traffic rank increases, their number of social media likes, their headline changes on their website, as well as their technologies used. So if you had a competitor that you said had a 40% traffic hike, you might say, look, they had 10,000 new Facebook likes this week, and they changed a headline. There's usually a correlation between those 2 actions. These things don't happen blindly. Aside from looking on a detailed basis here, we gave the competitor example. Because we have access on the exact numbers, right around 180 million different websites, throughout the world, companies may want to take a close look at their competitors and take a much more broad look at their entire industry. So if your company, let's say, defined your industry as someone using the word merchandising displays who's been out for the last 10 years. I mean, that's not going to be a great example for you guys, but who's been out for at least 10 years. And there existed 5,000 different companies or websites who fell within this category. We would run we would run a general check on all of these websites every day, and we would be able to look up what's the average time their website loads. You know, you just mentioned that you guys installed Drupal, which is going to be listed, you know, in your public source or source for all this information. Look, 20% of my client or 20% of our competitors are using Drupal over the last week, month, day. That might be something to take a closer look into. So this whole competitive intelligence is all used to monitor and, you know, have automated awareness into the changes made through your industry. The other side of that coin, a practical use of our product aside from the competitive monitoring, is when it comes down to brand protection and awareness. Because if, let's say someone in China had registered the website Rocktenn, they registered RockTennIsUs.com. They registered it in China and they were trying to illegally infringe on your company. They would have usually, if they're smart, they would know how to stay out of Google. They would make sure to delay before you guys thought you could find out they were out there. In our case, we could set up a trigger on every website registered and say if someone's using these certain terms, which for your companies usually are company names. Someone registers a site, you're going to get notified within 24 hours. This person did this from China and they're trying to piggyback off a certain promotion or, you know, anything you guys are doing from a legal perspective. So that's the other way to use the branding. And the last way, what I'm showing you here, is one of many modules. It's we can also store information where this is an example of all of the common terms entered from all of these different search engines correlated to your company or site. So it's an easy way where all this information you're seeing on the screen can also be stored on our end. So you can do a search once a month and say, what terms are being used in association with Rocktenn? And you know, for instance, if you guys came out with a marketing campaign that added the word shoes on it, more people are going to be searching for Rocktenn shoes, and you're just going to have this awareness kind of into what people are doing on every search engine, every large-scale search engine on the internet. So I'm going to take a breath at this point. I know we throw a lot at people in a few-minute period, but do you guys have any questions at this point, or is everything straightforward to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is all interesting. I guess we're to have a situation that I'm not sure at this point in time if we could utilize this service. We're really, the division or our division really deals with a small nucleus of customers. So we're not out there trying to really generate necessarily a lot of traffic to our website. I don't know, maybe if there are ways to find out how we could generate the right traffic to our website, that might be something, but that's kind of number one. And then number two, we've pretty much spent our budget for the year on our recent update to Drupal and training and where we're at right now. So for the current year, we'd probably be out of the be out of the ballpark for you. I have no idea what your service costs, but we kind of spent our IT budget at this point.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. Both the first issue you mentioned was you guys are more concerned with the quality of traffic as opposed to the numbers as a whole. Is that the long story short?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So on that note, just I suppose as a point of reference, if it wasn't clear, the usual usage of this kind of technology where I want to look at a segment of traffic. If in your case, Rocktenn, you want to say how many people came from, like we said, a certain search keyword, a certain search engine or segment. The usual use of this is to improve the customer experience on for each individual piece of traffic. This number was as small as 1, as big as 10 million, regardless of the number, because you're able to look into each customer's experience. I just wanted to let you know we're usually on the opposite end of the coin and have to justify, they say it's obvious how much I can get into each of my customers. The problem is we have so many, we want volume. So it's just usually the practical use case is someone who cares a lot more about their quality of traffic, where it's worthwhile to look at the subtle differences and changes to improve their experience. So that's just a small retort on that end, is that's kind of the objective of having the deeper views. So
I understand.
Aside from that, I'll tell you our pricing point starts at $750 a month. It's variable based on the amount of traffic you get. we have to run a one-day test basically on your website to see how much of a load it creates on our end. That's our hard cost. And aside from that, we have an average of 15 to 20 hours setup. That's a one-time thing. So that's the long story short of how that works. So if we did want to move forward and get a more accurate estimate, we would just have to run a one-day test on your traffic, and in advance it would help if you guys let us know how many page views you're getting a month. So our ballpark, if you get 1 million plus unique page views, is up to the 5,000 range, and if you're under 50,000 uniques a month, it's at 750. So just to give you an idea of where our pricing is at. So.
Right. All right. Well, that's all very interesting. We'll keep this in mind as we move forward and begin to get more involved with our website. As I say, now that we've just switched over to Drupal and have had our marketing team has gotten some training, and so we're just kind of getting our feet wet with trying to handle it on our own. Content, that is.
No, that yeah, I mean, it all makes sense. Obviously, by the lack of response on the phone, it sounded like so you guys are still in a building phase, and looks like what we're showing looks to you a lot more polishing based once you're kind of built.
That's right, and or if we were in a situation where we knew that we'd be generating, some real business from the web. And I'm not saying that's not a possibility. I think from time to time I've gotten an interesting lead here or there, a project, but unfortunately they're more the small players. And we're looking. We work with $1 million plus customers. Those kinds of large orders. So there are a lot of folks out there who want 3 displays for their local jewelry store or something. So
okay,
it's hard to weed that out.
No, I understand. You guys, we have 5 minutes. I'm going to show you. I had mentioned another point is everything you see here isn't an all or nothing type thing. Each individual feature on our end can be customized at a lower point. We don't need to. As an example here, just wanted to show you that just because of the scenario you just mentioned. This example here is if you guys have 5 people actively on your website, this is creating a record of the people as they're on your site. So in this case, how it's used for high-value clients as well is if you wanted to monitor what they're doing while you're chatting them with them on the phone while they're on your website. That's used for high-value customers. If you're talking about, let's say, you're selling your car, you're talking about how fast the car is, you see that your client happens to be shifting towards the safety measures, common sense-wise, you're going to address that over the phone. We have live chat integrated through this capability as well, if you want to chat with them, guide them along their way. So this is just another module I thought may be of interest for a scenario like yours, where you might not have interest in all your traffic, but if you wanted a live record to be able to increase your conversion rate on each of those individual clients, that's just another capability built within. So,
right.
All right. In that case, I guess is it worthwhile for me to send a general overview as a follow-up, or best just wait you guys to reach out if you have our contact if there's future?
I mean, if it's not a big deal for you to send it, that'd be fine. I don't want to have you go to any other effort, but we'd be happy to have that and keep it on file. See if things change in 6 months to a year.
Yeah, no, of course not. No, it's not effort to attach documents. So no, we're okay on that end. So yeah, it just sounds like obviously if there's not short-term interest aside from that, probably won't be following up on our end. Maybe I might give the salesperson a few months from now, but aside from that, please feel free to reach out to any contact you have within our company if things change, or if you want to dig any deeper into a particular capability in the short term for where you guys are at. So.
Okay, great. Thanks very much for the demo.
All right. Thanks a lot, Kathy, Ed. Nice talking to you guys, and have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye now.
Bye.